Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 79 of Show For You, where today we'll be going over episode 1157 of One Piece. Now, this episode, it started off with a very good opening. The opening and ending of will be the Elbaf season of One Piece, or season 2, guys, is ultimately really good. I really enjoyed it, and I really especially loved the opening, because, like, you get to see Shanks, guys, you get to see the GOAT, but you also get to see, like, Roger and stuff like that, who is also goated, but less so after the, like, Rocks flashback. But, yeah, so we started this episode with Nami waking up in the middle of this weird block palace. We know this as the Block Kingdom, and I won't spoil anything. I'll just say it's the Block Kingdom. That's what we know it as for right now. But yeah, so she wakes up, and there's a bunch of noise and stuff around. She ultimately she woke up because she heard Usopp's voice, and she ends up hearing Usopp holler for her again. But then a large animal pulls up, and Nami ultimately gets Zeus to whip out and just electrocutes this John to death. Then we see she's kind of chilling and looking around for Usopp more, and ultimately a hedgehog pulls up and it's like, yo, what's up? It's just chilling, and then Nami scares it gets startled, puffs out, starts chasing after her, and she has to try and dissemble it with Zeus. But ultimately she ends up seeing Usopp, and this hedgehog is running very slow. But I don't know if it's a hedgehog or a porcupine. I presume it's a hedgehog, but I don't know, guys. I believe it's a hedgehog. I'm not for certain. It's an animal. But yeah. So she's running after her, and then ultimately she passes by Usopp. Usopp is in the mouth of a cat, because of course he is, he's a bum. And this is a very large cat, but then we see is ultimately Nami is pressed up against the wall by the porcupine, but she's able to get her climate tagged in its mouth, and then release Zeus, who electrocutes it from the inside. But ultimately, we see as the cat is eventually releases Usopp, and then Usopp and Nami are able to escape this area, where they seem to get scot-free. Now, we actually see that Usopp was actually looking for Nami, because he was one of the first ones to wake up in the Block Kingdom, and he was actually looking for Nami and just another crewmate when he recognized that he had a weird costume on and all that, and he noticed it as Elbaf Regalia. But yeah, he's chasing after her, and ultimately he ends up finding Nami, calling for her name, but then he gets caught by the cat. But yeah, so this episode might as well have been titled Temple Run, because oh my gosh, it was just legit. This is quite a boring episode because it's just straight exposition, but yeah, it was just straight running for like 15 minutes of the episode. But yeah, like I said, they ultimately escape, but then they get chased by this like big lion thing, and the lion chases them until ultimately we see Zoro, Sanji, and Luffy come out and save the day. So I'm just gonna say after this, all right, guys, what are we doing, Usopp and Nami? Okay, we're getting beat by literally like Little Garden citizens. What about that? Like, literally, that Little Garden, these are just big animals. This is legit Little Garden fodder. And we are members of a Yonko crew, and we're running from them. Legit, Nami was, like, crying and hollering when she first woke up, just for, like, she said, I'd even take Usopp. So she believes she can't even beat these, but Usopp can, but Usopp still can't, because he's a bum, guys. I've heard, like I said, I've already read this, I already know this stuff, but I just rethought about it again. Like, guys, we're losing to Hocculus fodder as Yonko crewmates. Like, the same people as Vista. And, like, Benjamin Beckman, let's see, Yasopp, Mihawk, Crocodile. Like, we're losing against Hocculus fodder when we're on a Yonko crew. It's getting unacceptable, guys, but hopefully one day, maybe they'll at least get armament. Crazy thought, I know. But yeah, sorry about that side tangent. But yeah, so we ultimately see as they get saved by Usopp, not Usopp, Sanji, Zoro, and Luffy, who have been going around doing their own thing. We also got a flash to the Giants while Nami and Usopp are running around. Not the Giants, but the citizens of the Block Kingdom, where they mentioned that their ear god has been killed, who was a giant rabbit, and they say they need to go report to the Sun God. But yeah, so we actually learned that the person who killed this rabbit was Luffy, because he wanted some food. They ultimately ended up cooking up the rabbit and eating him. So he just ate one of their gods, and they just kind of discussing just like what is going on and all that stuff. They're in the Block Kingdom. It appears to be associated with Elbaf, or to be Elbaf, but they can't know for certain yet because they haven't really seen any giants. They've just seen giant animals. Yes, and they kind of deduced this down by the regalia. Now, prior to this, Usopp and Nami had been presuming that they were hallucinating due to the absinthe that they consumed on the giant ship, but I don't know how that would even be a plausible idea, because why would they be hallucinating the same thing? Then they propose that as a dream, and like Sanji's like, nah, bro, if it was a dream, there wouldn't be any men in it. And Nami's like, what type of dreams you be having, Sanji? But, yeah, so we see that ultimately they end up going to like the center area of this town, and they're like, you know what, we're gonna go explore the town. So they end up running off and doing their own thing. Usopp and Luffy are like, yeah, this is Elbaf, so we're going and exploring. So that's kind of where the episode ends. And like I said, it was a very boring episode. Like it was kind of just, like I said, it was like Temple Run because all they did was running for half of it. But it really, once again, exemplifies the skill differential between the members of the Straw Hat crew. But yeah, I just wish some of the Straw Hats would quit being so like bums. Like, okay, Nami, I don't know why Nami doesn't fight more. Nami literally has one of Big Mom, one of the strongest Yonkos. Well, one of history's strongest Yonkos. I'll phrase it like that. Yeah, one of the strongest Yonkos, homie, part of her soul. And she just never finds it. Like, she only ever uses it really for, like, the defense. We do see her occasionally use it for the offense. But, like, guys, I wish Nami would lock in and use Zeus more. Or, like, learn new applications of Zeus. Because, like, bro, she could be literally a lethal, like, supporter or something like that. Or even, heck, against, like, lower tier. Like, we've seen her go against Toby Roppo. So she has skill. We just gotta see her use it. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about episode 1157 of One Piece. Like I said, the outro was good, so that was a good thing for the end of this kind of boring episode. And I am ready to see where it goes next episode, because I know next episode will be a little bit more action-packed. And I'm honestly ready to see how far they get into the Elbaf arc, because at this pace, I honestly don't know if within like the 25-episode run for this year, if they will get to the end of the Elbaf arc, because there's a lot of stuff to adapt and a lot of intricacies there. So yeah, like I said, that's all I really have to say about the episode, and that's all I really have for Shelf Review episode 79. So thank you very much for watching.